The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. It's Thursday, 8:30 a.m., 60 minutes to go until that opening bell, and we got markets pulling back in negative territory to kick things off. Right now, you're looking at Dow Futures off 302 points. It's about 1.1% in the red, trading at 27,635. S&P's off by 49 points right now. That's almost 1.5% in the red, trading at 3330. NASDAQ, how about it? NASDAQ Futures off 245 points right now. That's more than 2% in the red for the NASDAQ. NASDAQ volatility continuing in a big way. NASDAQ off 245 points, trading 11,011 right as we speak, actually dipping below that 11,000 mark. And we have the Russell right now. Russell, negative 22 points at 1528. Always interesting times. Thursdays at 8:30 a.m. We get weekly jobless claims. That number, just a pretty stagnant 860,000. The market was looking for about 875,000, pretty close to what we got last week. We'll check back in on that number as the calculations come out. Always interested in how continuing claims will come out in that number, but nonetheless, 860,000. Keeping in mind, folks, those are initial claims, new jobless claims on a weekly basis. Almost 1 million people every single week filing for an initial jobless claim, losing their jobs. Last week, we had continuing claims in the realm of about 13.9 million. Pre-COVID, the highest, the highest number that we ever saw before COVID, we were dealing with a level of about 700,000 ever, because it's always been a much slower cascade to joblessness. COVID, we're dealing with almost 1 million jobs every single month, every single week. Nonetheless, that hitting the tape at 8:30 this morning as we come on the air, and you're seeing markets tick a little bit lower on that news. S&P's 3328, backing things up to where we were. Last Friday, 3298. You see the overnight lows we had at about 2:30 in the morning. S&P's made it down to a level of about 3310. Talk about some volatility, folks, right? 3310, you trade up a little bit of a reprieve to about 6:30 in the morning. We were as high as 3347, and since then we've dipped about 20 points, 3328 in the S&Ps. Jumping around to commodities, crude oil backing off a bit from the highs we just had of $40.39. Crude trading at $39.92, down about 24 cents. Gold contract pulling back a bit as well from the highs we had yesterday of 1983. You got gold trading at 1948. Notes and bonds on the heels of Fed Day, catching a little bit of a bid. We got the 10-year right now up about 7 ticks at 139.21. The 30-year up 29 ticks at 177.03. And to see where we are on that 10-year yield right now, we're sitting at a yield of about 0.658% to be exact. In terms of overseas, Europe, you get the DAX down about 0.6%. FTSE right now down about 0.3%. CAC Roll down 0.8%. Over in Asia overnight, Nikkei, negative action as well, down about 0.6%. Shanghai down about 0.4%. HSI down 1.5%. All right, we got to kick it off with the VIX this morning as we get some negative action in the markets, as you may expect. An elevated VIX spiking to 2813 right now in that volatility index yesterday. How about a 24 handle, 2484? And they're saying no audio in the den potentially, Al. Maybe Dan, maybe check it out. I think we're okay. There we go. All right, S&Ps, we're ticking a little bit lower, 51 points to the red, and jumping around to what else we have going on in the markets. And we'll start it off with Bank of England steps up negative rates work as threats to economy multiply. So the UK central bank keeps policy unchanged for now. Investors step up expectations of sub-zero borrowing costs. So pretty interesting in here when you looked at the Bank of England gave the clearest signal yet that it may consider cutting interest rates below zero for the first time in its history as the economy gears up for a period of, and this is, to put it lightly, unusual uncertainty. So you got the pound falling. We'll pull up the pound in a moment. With multiple threats to the outlook looming, Bank of England will begin structured engagement with the UK bank regulators on how it might implement negative rates. Now, Powell saying nothing like this over here in the U.S., but over in England, officials had previously said they were reviewing the case for such a move, and they said they haven't ruled it out. The preparation goes beyond anything seen before, as they are really taking a look at how to implement, how that would work. The comments in the minutes of Thursday's policy decision prompted investors to bet that the next 10 basis points of easing will come in May, with another cut of the same magnitude to follow in November. The pound weakening, trading down about 0.5% to 129.05. All right, pretty interesting action. We're seeing the S&P slipping a bit from that level, still not quite to the overnight lows that we had, but quite a sell-off, folks, when you look at where we were at about 2:30 Eastern time when the press conference started. You had the S&Ps up there at 34.19. Folks, we've given up almost 100 S&P points from that price level, right? You're only showing we're down 53, but quite a sell-off to end the day on Wednesday. We traded from 34.19. Ended the day pretty much at about 33.73. So we trade off about 50 points yesterday. We're losing another 50 points as of right now. It's Thursday. One more trading day left in the week. Pretty interesting action, folks. It's going to be a dicey open in 60 minutes as we approach that opening bell. All right, what else we got going on? Snowflake. So, pretty interesting action on Snowflake yesterday. Snowflake more than doubles in market debut, largest ever software IPO. We'll pull up the chart in a moment. Began trading at 245 before briefly being halted due to volatility. I think it made it up to almost 319. We'll pull up the chart in a moment. The cloud software company worth $67.9 billion at the opening price, more than 5 times its $12.4 billion in valuation in February. I think they priced it about 100. Yeah. So 100 to 110 was estimated on Monday. I think they came in at $120 technically. There it is, shares priced at 120. And to pull up the action on Snowflake, folks, be very, very careful to not chase anything like this, folks. If you ever see it happening, we'll put it on a minute chart, all right? We're just going to zoom it in on yesterday when it starts trading at about 12:30 in the afternoon. You open at about 2:45. I mean, look at the volume that we had in some of these. So this is a minute chart. Okay, now, of course, gangbusters right out of the gate, almost 4 million shares the first minute, 400,000 the next minute. It spikes to 319, and you do 1.4 million shares in that 1 minute bar, folks. That bar, the low of that bar was 276. The high was 319. Now, to back things out to see where we finished the day, you finished the day at about 253. Remarkable action. Action made it down to 231. Don't be chasing equities like this, especially on an IPO. A lot of people lost a lot of money, I imagine, up there. And maybe you're going to hold for a while, but that is quite a valuation for that company, Snowflake, as they go IPO yesterday. All right, what else we got happening, folks? We'll take a look at the S&P as we approach this first break. S&P currently down 52 points. I'm going to put it on a 1 minute chart. You can see a little bit of volatility right at around, there's your 830 bar. So we were trading about 33.33. We're now trading 33.27. Pretty muted action on that jobless claim number. We'll come back. We'll get into some of those jobless claims. We'll get into continuing claims. We'll see what else we have on Thursday trading. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be right back in 3 minutes.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The gold report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The gold report is a comprehensive look at the metal sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the gold report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the gold report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. S&P's right now holding at about that minus 52 level. NASDAQ futures right at 11,000, trading down 255. Dow off 333 points now, right now, and the Russell negative 23. Jumping back to commodity-wise, gold pulling back right at about 1952, and we'll jump right to what we have happening in terms of stocks with action this morning. So some of the airlines and cruises, they're trading a little bit lower in terms of the volatility, as we had the CDC director yesterday basically being contradicted by the president. Lots of mixed messages, folks, not what you want to see when you talk about a vaccine, when you talk about what we should be doing, wearing masks, etc. Nonetheless, jumping around to some of those stocks, CCL, Carnival, there you see their drop from 1646 to 1588 this morning. NCLH, Norwegian, from about 1750 to 1708. The airline stocks, American Airlines right now, pulling back a bit, not too much of a move from 1380 to 1358. I mean, these airline stocks, folks, it's going to be a long time before we get anything in terms of normalcy. It's basically going to take a vaccine, and it's going to take a vaccine when you talk about even global travel, right? Pretty remarkable to think when the next time global travel could be something that is seamless and without fear of catching the coronavirus. Not happening anytime soon, folks. I'm going to jump back to some of the data. So we'll start it off with Florida, okay? Florida, where we're based, TFNN, where I reside, where I live. My hometown, Boston, always in my heart, but I'm in Florida now. Florida cases, I mean, we've definitely pulled back from the peak. Thank goodness. Things were getting a little dicey there. Over 15,000 cases at one point. You had the 7-day average approaching 12,000 cases. We're still approaching 2,500 cases a day is the 7-day average. You could say that that curve is somewhat flattening. Okay, we're approaching deaths. When you talk about a 7-day average of about 120 deaths a day just in the state of Florida, folks. We're about 12,500 deaths just in the state of Florida. Pretty remarkable that something like that's becoming a normal figure, that over 100 Floridians are dying every single day from this. And I bring that up because now we're going to be opening up bars, okay? So I'm starting to get ads for nightclubs talking about DJs with pictures of basically a nightclub rave saying, guess what, we're back open on Saturday. Okay, new policies, less people in there. There's going to be no smoking indoors. I mean, I was just seeing this on my Instagram. I wasn't even looking for it today. I open up Instagram, and I'm getting all these ads from nightclubs in Tampa that are opening back up this weekend. Now, I'm assuming, I don't know that there's a decreased capacity, all right, but I don't know how you get a bunch of young people in a nightclub and do that safely. Okay, I don't know, and we'll see. But I'm going to jump around a bit here. So Florida, here's their dashboard. Okay, this is the Florida Department of Health. I want to talk about a little bit about manipulation of data, because my biggest frustration of what's going on right now is that people don't have accurate data to make correct decisions for themselves, okay? So here is what the Florida Department of Health puts on their dashboard, okay? Now, you would read this, you say new cases, okay? New cases, that's a representation. As I said, you're talking about 2,500 maybe cases a day. And there you go, and they say, oh, deaths, recent deaths. You say, look at that. Things are going so well, right? My goodness, no matter what's happening with the cases, it must be a case that everybody's younger. It must be a case that we have better responses from the health community, because guess what? My goodness, we used to be losing about 100 deaths a day, but this is great. We're only losing maybe 17 deaths are dropping dramatically, almost too good to be true, right? Well, folks, data can be manipulated in many ways, okay? Now, this is a representation of data, and I'm going to show you when you get into the report, okay? So here is the report, the state report that gets into a little bit more of the data in Florida, okay? Now, as we mentioned, here are the cases that are talking about, okay? 2,300 cases positive yesterday. Median age, 39. Number one, that's the median age. That is not the average age, okay? That is the median age. Number two, we're talking about only Florida residents. Not sure why you would ever just include Florida residents when you have many people that are residents of other states that are residing in Florida on a temporary basis. Nonetheless, they are choosing to only highlight Florida residents. Okay, we're dealing with a positivity rate of approaching 5% consistently. Okay, we're at 4.47 as of yesterday. Now, here's what I'm going to get into in terms of how you can manipulate data without really lying about it. Okay, you're not lying about it, but you're choosing to highlight specifics of data that might misconstrue actually what is going on in society, okay? Here is the data that my state's Florida Department of Health chooses to highlight. Now, this dashboard is usually what people access that are not familiar enough with this data to really dig into it, okay? You want to call it the layman, you want to call it the average person. They pull up the dashboard and they would say, my goodness, look at this, the deaths are dropping dramatically. And they would be horribly incorrect, folks, okay? Because what this data does is that they are using this portion of their data, which is deaths by date of death, okay? But here's what's happening, folks. It takes sometimes a week or two for that Florida Department of Health to receive the death certificate. So this is going to be a constantly evolving, backdating process, okay? So they are choosing to only highlight the data over about the last month, whereas they don't normally receive a case of somebody that died yesterday within 24 hours. So what happens? As of yesterday, the Florida Department of Health received data that 184 additional people that they were not aware of as of September 14th, but they received data that many people died. Now, what happened, though, is that they had to take these 184 people and apply them to the date that death occurred, okay? So that date goes back a week or two or maybe 3 weeks at times it takes, okay? So what does the Florida Department of Health choose to do? They choose to highlight this graph, which basically is always going to look like deaths are decreasing, which is not necessarily the case, folks, okay? So when you see this data, and unfortunately, things getting very politicized, you have the president yesterday disagreeing with his own director of the Centers for Disease Control, okay? And you have Florida, Ron DeSantis, who is one of the best buddies of President Trump out there, okay? So you Floridians out there, I say this because my biggest frustration is people aren't getting accurate information to make decisions for themselves on good information, because this is not what is occurring in deaths in Florida. This is what the death total looks like in Florida, folks, okay? And this is what the death total looks like in Florida. Now, yeah, we pulled back a bit. We are still at about 125, 118 is the 7-day average, and it's a shame that people are making incorrect decisions for their own health based on this type of a graph that is published by the Florida Department of Health. So make some smart decisions for yourself, folks. You got to be informed. My biggest frustration is the misleading data that is out there. And guess what? It comes to the market, folks, okay? We got nightclubs opening in Tampa. If you don't think that's going to cause a spike, if you don't think that's going to pull back on business, all right, it's going to happen. So we'll see. The market right now, I mean, we're talking about, folks, when you put this on a daily basis, okay, we are now from 35.87, 250 points off the high, and we're down 1.5% today. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be talking the market when we come back in 3 minutes.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. S&P's down about 53 points right now. We got 35 minutes to go until that opening bell. Getting into the jobless claims number that came out at 8:30 a.m. this morning. So the headline number, 860,000 initial claims. Some good numbers, though, when you talk about continuing claims, folks. That's a number I like to focus on, essentially. Another piece of good news, continuing claims falling almost a million, falling 916,000 to 12.63 million. The 4-week moving average for continuing claims dropped by 532,000 to 13.5 million. So continuing claims, one of the biggest ones you want to look out there in terms of how many people are remaining on the continuing jobless claims roll. All right, what else we got going on? Jumping around to some of the stocks with action today. Kodak. So Kodak up again as the law firm that they hired putting out some good information, saying maybe not as nefarious as first thought, but as I said yesterday, folks, be very skeptical. If you bought the open yesterday in Kodak, man, you got punished from 1144 almost down to about 850 yesterday. Today, you're trading right in that area for Kodak. Tesla, Apple, Amazon set to resume the recent sell-off, as we talked about. We'll jump around to some of the health stocks in a moment. CVS, they're up a bit. Piper Sandler initiating coverage with an overweight rating, well-positioned to transform healthcare access quality at reduced costs. And the stock is down more than 20% this year. And Penn Gaming, they're down a bit, even though they got a price target from one of the analysts. So we'll jump around. CVS, there's your action on them. Pretty muted reaction. Penn Gaming, pulling back a bit, even though they just got a price target of $85. But we talked about, folks, the low in Penn Gaming on COVID low, we'll call it. How about $3, okay? DraftKings, DKNG, they were making partnerships with ESPN on Monday, the New York Giants yesterday, not bad. And then what was the other one we're going to take a look at? Some of the FANG stocks. So Tesla shares, I mean, you got the NASDAQ 100, folks, down 278 points right now. Tesla from 441 to 416. Amazon, the big dog. What's going on? We're going to get a 2,900 handle on Amazon? Shame on the market. And Microsoft just above 200. We'll check in on the VIX as we wrap it up. 28.59. Stay tuned, folks. We got a treat. Steve Rhodes, he's coming up live, filling in for Larry at 9 o'clock. We'll be right back.